Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to NRF. So this is our last day, and I'm here today with Michelle Evans from Forbes, and we're going to talk a little bit about consumer experiences. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we'll jump right in.
Thank you. So my day job, I head the digital consumer research at Euromonitor International, and then I also am a contributor for Forbes. So I'm here taking in all the happenings at NRF.
That's
see
awesome.
What I can
well,
take
welcome.
back to the research.
So today's our last day, and one of the things we've been looking at is some of the trends that are coming up, the trends that we think are going to hit in 18, and then the trends that you think are more 19 and 20. As you've looked around and some of the spots that you've written on trends in the fintech space, what do you think's going on?
I think there's a couple insights I would take away from NRF. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of excitement around the idea of unmanned checkout. Amazon Go made a lot of headlines with that last year. It actually has more traction in places like China, and we're seeing players in the U.S. start to hop into that. And if you walk around the booths here, you see quite a few initiatives around that. And speaking of Amazon, we were talking about this a few minutes ago. I think at a lot of other conferences I've been to of late that you hear a lot of fret around Amazon, a lot of conversation around them in the online space. And I think at this show I've heard a lot less of that. I think retailers are starting to figure out we need to determine where our strengths are and how we go on the offensive, which is I think a phrase that you've used to describe it, and really take what is ours with that footprint and solve for a consumer problem.
That's really cool. So other trends that you see like AI and IoT, where do you think that plays in some of the retail trends that we're going to see in the future?
Yeah, I think both are obviously hot areas that are picking up steam. I think in terms of the Internet of Things, I think that is truly exciting. We have obviously seen in recent years subscription services pick up steam. The internet, mobile phones, social media has all helped to boost that. You also have consumers millennials becoming more the everyday consumers that like those kind of intermediate purchases versus a big purchase. And I think what we're heading towards when you start to layer the Internet of Things is that idea of an automatic purchase. When you think about the more mundane product categories, the laundry detergent, the idea of Amazon right now is someone who you can tap your Amazon Dash and they're going to send you that detergent based on your purchase history. But now you're seeing the technology integrated into the appliances where it's going to measure your consumption and automatically send out. Artificial intelligence is obviously another hot technology, and I would say, I think this is the year where retailers, payment players really started to think, okay, we have to get a strategy in place around this because it could take years to build out the database in the way to make it where we need it to be in 5 years or so.
That's really interesting, and one of the things we've seen is some of these data analytics services, and AI is one of those, allows us to, for the first time, allow smaller merchants that are, a new coffee shop to start taking advantage of things that only very large IT businesses could ever have done before. So they can use things like AI to get business insights to help run their store in a much more effective way. At Verifone, as we start to build out Verifone Connect, we're starting to build an end-to-end experience that scales for some of our top clients that have thousands and thousands of terminals. And now we'll be able to take that same technology and make it available for somebody who wants to start their very first coffee shop or their very first boutique. And we're really excited because I think these trends unlock the capabilities for the first time so that small businesses can optimize their business and create new revenue streams. And I think Verifone Connect hopefully will be a product that can do that for them.
Well, I think when you speak of AI and both IoT, they both have so many applications, from improving recommendations to helping store associates on the floor, to the idea of IoT and sensors on the floor that can provide more product information as you're shopping around.
It's such an exciting space because I think it'll go from intuition-based products and the way people run their business with an intuition to data-based and data-driven.
Yeah, fact-based.
And it's going to be so exciting. The other thing that you've talked about quite a bit is the consumer experience. Often in the payment space, we talk about the merchant experience or we talk about the banker's experience, but the consumer is starting to require certain things that are driving these innovations. Have you seen that kind of thing? Have you seen the consumer experience and what consumers are demanding when they go in for experiential experiences and stores versus some of the mundane that you were talking about driving this technology?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, with the payment space, as payments, they become more of a commodity, a period at the end of the sentence. So I think in reaction, a lot of payment players started providing services around the payment transaction. And at the same time, you have consumers that we see, it's one of the mega trends that Euromonitor's identified. They want to experience more. So it's getting something else out of the consumer path to purchase, something that would resonate with them, something that they can share with others, that type of thing.
That's really exciting, and I think this is where we have an untapped market. I think when we start asking consumers what they want and then delivering it to them and having a scalable platform to do that, things like loyalty and being able to do predictive, personalized recommendations when you walk into a store, it's a world I want to live in the next few years because I want that experience for myself.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times retailers, for decades have done this simple idea of a punch card loyalty.
Right.
This is a more sophisticated, more enriched personalization, building a relationship. So we're moving from less transactional to more relationship that stays around, right? We build upon relationships.
That sounds great. Okay, last question. One of the other things that has actually been around and a buzzword for a long time is online and offline experiences. Some call it omni-channel even. What have you seen here in that space, and where do you think that's going to go this year?
That's really exciting, and I think it goes back to the idea of, I think a lot of conferences, a lot of the conversations around conferences that I've attended has focused so much on the online channel. But when you think about it, we have a global consumer trends survey that we do annually. So global consumers, 20,000 consumers, half of them still want to see and try on an item. So that often means they're going to have to go in store. And when we look at some of our forecast data about, I think it's by 2021, still 85% of goods are going to be bought in a physical store. So that means that asset is still very important to the commerce experience. And I think what we're seeing is technology get injected more into those outlets. Whether it's more of a traditional retailer or a food service, you're seeing a variety of technologies come into play. Maybe it's the virtual reality headsets that allows you to, shop the endless aisle in a more imaginative way. Maybe it's augmented reality when you're trying on an outfit and you're planning to go skiing in it. You could imagine yourself in that skiing adventure.
Right.
So a lot of different technologies, being layered now, being taken from that offline experience to the online to the offline in order to enrich that more.
As you talk, I keep thinking this is the world I want to live in. I'm so glad we get to see some of these experiences in our lifetime. Well, everybody, thank you very much for coming. Michelle, thank you so much for coming and having a quick chat with us. A lot of what we've talked about today from an experience, whether it's the merchant experience or a consumer experience, is available here at the booth. So please take a couple of minutes and check it out. And thank you very much. And thank you.
Thank you.